Hello everyone. Very excited to be back again with CEO Diaries. I am, of course, Lauren Dallas. I'm CEO of Future Females, and I am joined in person, our first in-person CEO Diaries, with Leah, who is our incredible social media manager and the woman behind the Future Females Instagram account, which I'm sure some of you at least follow. So I can see people are joining. We're now live everywhere that we should be: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Hello. Please do let us know where you are in the world. We are sitting in our new office space in Cape Town,
which is amazing.
Innovation City. It is absolutely amazing and just so excited. For me, I think a lot of you know, I'm based up in Joburg, so I'm happy to be spending the weeks now in a space with the team. So for anyone that doesn't know, just a quick overview of the point of CEO Diaries. We are working towards launching our platform, the Future Females platform. I'm sure most of you know about it. A lot of you are probably on our waitlist already, which is how you heard about this session. If you are not, you can jump on the waitlist, and we're opening the doors to our waitlisters in just a couple of weeks. And this platform is really a community-led tech space where you can access courses from founders and really just get the support you need to take your business forwards. So that's what we've been working towards launching since December. This session is really just to open up, be real, and share what's going on behind the scenes, and hopefully share it in a way that will help you, whether you are launching now or working up to one of your own launches in your business or starting your business. We have a prize every CEO Diaries session, and it goes to whoever shares the most or reveals a story or supports another member when there's a question. And really, it's just about interaction because it's much more fun for us. So I will announce the winner, and the prize is a piece of Future Females merch, whichever piece you prefer. You can check out our shop on Instagram, and I'll award it at the end. So Peggy and Stephanie and Shona and Leah and Karen, thank you for commenting already. That is literally all you have to do, because we love seeing who you are and also just making this as interactive as possible. So as I said, and as you can see, I'm joined by Leah, who is our social media manager. And so we want to focus this session really on everything to do with organic content, community engagement on social, and then specifically how we've been generating leads. So taking people from social media into an email list and ultimately into sales. So any questions you have about that, you're in the right place. And I'm going to be throwing them at Leah to support all of you. So I think with that, before we get into the actual questions, do you want to just give a little bit of an intro to yourself and your background?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Leah Kay. I'm a social media manager and content creator. I've been with Future Females for almost a year now, which is amazing and very, very exciting being part of this journey as well with the new platform launch. A little bit of background behind me. Content creation has always been something that's felt like it's definitely a part of me. It's come very naturally to me. I was very privileged enough as a young girl to travel a lot with my parents, spend a lot of time in nature. And so that's kind of where my love for photography developed and was born. And so as I've grown older, I've just found a love and passion for it. And yeah, I've made it my career, which I'm so happy about.
I'm so happy you made it your career. Some of you what you might not know about me is that I'm not a natural content creator. Really. Visible outward laughter. I'm just not. I don't necessarily love content creation. I find it a little draining. What I love is the ideation and then the analytics. So very grateful to have a Leah in my life. It's actually one of the first things that I outsourced when we started Future Females for that reason. So I guess you probably are everyone tuned in is probably in one of those two buckets. And maybe you want to let us know if you love your content creation, or you're on that content hamster wheel, waking up with anxiety every morning, wondering what the hell to post.
What should I film? What do I do now?
I'm definitely speaking from experience. Do let us know which bucket you fall into so we can steer this conversation a little. I think let's get into our strategy. So obviously we are working towards this launch. So do you want to share a little bit about kind of how we approach thinking about social media and announcing?
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the big turning points from the Future Females side of things has been a few months ago, we like reassessed our content strategy internally and kind of looked at like what we've been doing and what we want to be doing going forward. And the biggest thing for me, like creating the content, has been making sure that we're focusing on our content pillars and making sure that our community is engaging with those content pillars, because obviously, ideally, we're wanting to build a community that also resonates and authentically relates to the content that we're putting out there. So making sure that we're sharing our educational content is definitely part of our strategy. Making sure we're inspiring women to know how incredible that they are, inspiring entrepreneurs and inspiring people to get active on social media and voice their opinions and voice their true authentic self as well. And then also celebrating our community member wins and some other exciting stuff going forward. But our content strategy has definitely revolved heavily around our content pillars, keeping consistent as well. It can sometimes be tricky, especially with all the algorithm changes. Sometimes, we post a reel or a piece of content that we've been working so hard on, and then we post it and then it doesn't necessarily perform as well. But at the end of the day, it isn't necessarily about that, but it's more about that we do have an engaged, authentic community. So yeah.
Amazing. So in terms of, I'm just reading through so many comments here. Karina saying it's a skill you need to improve on. You're the same as me. That makes me feel better too. So thanks, Karina. Jen saying so bad with content creation, which has left my small business so sad and stagnant. Annalise on the no idea what to post and I need a plan but not sure where to start bucket. Okay, good. Well, you've come to the right place. You keep mentioning our content pillars. Do you want to speak a little bit about what they are and how we put them together and how it rolls into the plan?
Yeah, definitely. So that is something that I feel has definitely helped us, is just developing content pillars. And obviously your content pillars are going to be different to other people. Obviously, you might relate with other brands, but really your content pillars can be anything between, like, keeping it to 3 is always good, but 3 to 5, I would say, values that you really want to be sharing in your content consistently. And so I mentioned education, inspiration, and celebration. Those are our 3 core content pillars at Future Females. So whatever format of content, so by format I mean whether we're posting a reel, a story, whether we're going live, whether we're posting a quote or a carousel, we either want to be educating or inspiring or celebrating, or why not all 3 in one post as well? So that's also sometimes something that you can do when you feel like you are stagnant and you don't know where your social media is going. Try, hone in, go back to your content pillars. Whenever I'm, coming up with content, I always think, okay, but how is this educational? It's not. Or how is it inspirational? It's not. So then I don't think it falls within what we're going to be posting, if that makes sense. And that's actually what I would advise to anyone, is to, before posting content, just spend time really honing in what are your values for your business or for your personal brand that you're building, and how are you going to show that to everyone. And every time you're designing and creating the content, ask yourself, is it aligned with my values, to really tick off the boxes, and content creation becomes so much more easier. Yeah. You've also seen that from a Lauren Dallas point of view as well.
So Leah also runs my Instagram account as Lauren Dallas as a personal brand, so can definitely speak to business and personal brand. Whatever you guys are working on, do let us know. I think one thing that I've really observed, and I'll share because I see people commenting about this, when we post, really thinking about what's working, what's not working, what hasn't been working so well is like really blatant brand and product posts. And I think this is where a lot of small business owners in particular can stumble when it comes to social media, is making it about you and making it about your product. Our best, and you've smashed your lead target every month, and our best acquisition posts are actually like a quote, but it says further down the caption, like, P.S., go join our waitlist. It's rarely, in fact, never, I think we can say, it's never like the branded, here's a picture of the platform, go sign up. So do you want to talk more to what's not working so well?
Yeah. And I think it's exactly that. I think what we've experienced on the Future Females page is that, which is actually really exciting, is that our community relates a lot more to authentic content. And so the authentic content that we're posting and that we're creating, which goes into like the carousels, we've been bringing in educational carousels, which is all taken from the courses that are obviously going to be on the new platform. People are engaging really well with that. And when I mean engaging, from the one carousel, we had like over 300 saves, which is amazing because over 300 people have obviously saved that. They've gained knowledge, they've gained something from it. And so although the post itself might not be the best in terms of reach, like 300 members, 300 people from our community saving it is huge.
That's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And so on Instagram, I mean, some of you I'm sure know this, but they call the save the super like now. So, I mean, we shouldn't get into like hacking the algorithm because it changes so frequently, but something to always think of, and what our pillars do for us is that education typically drives saves, which is good for the algorithm to see engagement, like you just said, 300 saves. Whereas inspiration is typically more about growth and getting new followers. So I think it's, as much as it's about creating value, it's also thinking about what is the business objective I'm driving with each piece. Karina, I see you're saying the only content that comes naturally to you is your cat, and joking that that's not right for a tech brand. But I'll tell you something about last week. I was filming ads for Leah in my house, and some of you might know I have an adorable, I call her a puppy, but she's actually huge now. She's in the back of every freaking ad video that I've made, and I've spent all day filming like 2 things. And eventually I was like, I'm just going to leave it. And we put a post up on stories and was like, does this come across as relatable, having the dog in the background, or does it come across as unprofessional? 100% of our audience, and Future Females, we're building a tech platform, so it is a tech brand, said that it's relatable. So maybe your cat is the missing link. And I'm joking, but actually, you know, I think authenticity is such an overused word, but it is about thinking about some of those things. Maybe your cat is the authentic personal side of your tech brand.
And also might maybe make you feel more comfortable in, you know, creating and presenting that content out there to the audience.
Absolutely. I think I saw a question up here. I'm just going to scooch up from Peggy. I'm going to pop it on screen. I'd like to know how to target the correct market for my business. I have a lot to learn about Instagram and how to get client attention. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. An amazing opportunity to get to know your community. So there's so many tools that Instagram has created for you to really try and get to know your community. And that's something that we're definitely honing in on as well at the moment. So something simple as hopping on your stories and asking certain questions about your community, creating polls, you know, really getting that interaction between you as the business owner or as the personal brand owner and your community going. So asking questions, simply putting a question, a box out there saying like, what content do you prefer seeing on my page, is such an easy way for you to get to know your audience properly. And then also getting to play with different formats of content. So for at least a month, test posting carousels, quotes, reels, and see how your audience responds and which like format of content that they respond best to, if that makes sense. So you might find that your personal business, your personal brand might respond better to reels, and your friend's business might respond better to educational carousels. But that's because you guys have 2 different communities and 2 different, you know, separate identities and brands on itself. Therefore, your community is going to respond differently. So really, it's all about, you know, it's within your hands. It's all about testing and being patient. You can't like within a week be like, so giving it some time. Playing with stories, contacting people as well. There's no harm in sending people DMs and saying, hey, like, what do you think about my content? What am I lacking? It's just about authentically putting yourself and your brand out there.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the perfect answer. I just want to add something, and that is have a customer persona, right? It's probably even more critical for social media than for other aspects of business, but really knowing who you're speaking to. And it sounds like the most obvious advice, but we go back to our persona quarterly. We're like, is this still the right person? We look at our new followers and we're like, does this align? Because we might be getting great engagement, but if it's the wrong people, then it's kind of irrelevant for the business. So I would take it back up. And if you don't have a documented customer persona, and you could just Google templates, we'll also offer templates in our new platform if you would like to join the wait list. Lovely segue. But we will, because that persona is so important, and not just like mapping it out, but actually using it. You know, your persona should be something active. I went through, you know, when I transitioned from being a general Facebook advertising coach into being the Future Females co-founder, obviously I started targeting women more. But I had 50% male followers on my Instagram. And so actually my engagement was driving more male followers rather than readjusting to the community that I was now serving. So that persona work is really important. I will add, because it makes sense as a natural follow-on question, what if the wrong people are following you? And let me know in the chat if this is you. The thing that I advise, and it's actually great for us both being here, because Leah's like the queen of organic, and my experience is very much in paid. And so what I did was run a really small budget video ad to my exact right target market. Because with paid ads, you can get super specific, then grow your audience of the right people through that. And then the algorithm will also start growing that more organically for you too. Pop this back down. There's another question up here. Let me pop it up from Gabba. Is it advisable to open an Insta or Facebook before officially launching? I'm still at idea stage.
Hell yes.
Good. I was going to say the same. Yeah. It's never too soon to start, Gabba. And like Leah was just saying, you know, it's about testing, but it's also slow. So the sooner you start, the better. And, you know, linking it back to the launch that we're doing.
Exactly.
We're kind of in idea stage, technically, because we haven't opened the doors yet. But what we've done is build up a wait list of 13,000 people. And a lot of that has just come from consistency of content. So do it now, Gabba, would be our advice, definitely. The sooner the better.
Yeah, get ahead of the game.
Yeah. Let me ask you, obviously you're managing a lot, right? And we've got our Instagram, we've got my Instagram, we've got the Facebook page. What are you finding the most challenging?
Oh, it's a tough question. I think, obviously, so the Instagram account is the biggest channel. So it is 150,000 people, which is really, really cool. It's huge. So we've got a community of 150,000 people. And so obviously that naturally means that there's an influx there's messages coming through 24/7, keeping up with obviously like responding to comments and stuff. But to be honest, I can't like think of something, you know, for me, as soon as there's like a target. So internally we all have targets of like, you know, the numbers that we're wanting to meet from our channels. And I just see it as like, okay, I'm going to smash this. Like I want to try get more. And so, yeah, I think it's just a really exciting space to be in. And I can't honestly think of anything that is super tough. I think maybe the one thing
should I set a higher target?
Maybe. I think maybe the one thing is obviously with as Lauren mentioned earlier, with sharing more content that is just specifically about the waitlist, which is obviously something that we also need to do. Naturally, like our account for the week or for the month might have dropped in reach. And so from an analytical point of view, that isn't always nice seeing. But again, I always say, like, I'd rather us grow by 100 authentic followers who really are aligned with our values and who actually do want to join the platform than grow by 1,000 who only maybe 10 people join the platform. And so, yeah, I'd say something that is maybe a bit tough is, again, like maybe not seeing the from an analytical point of view because of the type of content that we are posting. But I would also say that now we've kind of looked at that and we're framing it differently with like the educational carousels and seeing that the community really enjoys seeing that and engages really well with that, which is amazing from our side. It's encouraging because it's also like okay, our community and our audience are obviously excited and want to be part of this launch.
Absolutely.
Which is really cool. So I think it's almost been a bit of like, okay, what's not working, which has maybe been the heavy like waitlist push, like you said, and rather putting the copy in the caption, and then just changing it and seeing a good response.
Absolutely. But I also think one of the things you do really well that is so important is, yes, you manage a social media channel, but you never look at it in isolation. Like you were saying, it's not just about getting more followers or getting more likes on a post. It's actually part of a holistic and strategic marketing funnel, and understanding like how you can contribute to that in terms of the lead generation every month, in terms of those leads converting to sales ultimately. And I think there is a real risk, and I used to also coach Instagram, so I've seen this many times, that you only look at this channel as like, that's an engagement channel or that's an audience building channel, but it's actually step one often in a much, much longer journey. So maybe you want to speak to that and some of the improvements you've made when it comes to lead generation.
Yeah, 100%. So one of the biggest thing has actually been personally inviting people to our platform. So again, really like, not just inviting thousands of people. Obviously, the offer's out there. The link is in our bio. So the whole world is able to sign up to our platform, but really actually trying to find the right people. Again, I think it goes into building a community that is going to be well fitted and well suited, not just people signing up for the platform. So looking for those people sometimes takes a while, but personally inviting people that we really do think truly aligns with our values of Future Females as well to join the waitlist simply just by DMing them, as well as playing around with different formats of content. So again, posting reels with maybe a more of an educational spin, but not necessarily directly at the waitlist, but using the copy within the caption, and people then watch the reel, they're able to relate to the reel, and then they maybe feel like, this aligns with me, I want to join the community, and then hop on the waitlist.
Absolutely. There's a good question here. I'm going to pop it up from Jude. So apart from the engagement, which is amazing, and I think we've spoken to a bit, what's your strategy for getting new followers?
So growth hacking. I'll share like one example is not so long ago, we were testing the difference between posting just a single image. So if you do follow our page, we post quite a lot of inspirational quotes. And so usually we would post them just as images. And then I spent some time watching some YouTube videos, and there was this new like hot topic about actually posting it as a 1-second video, because obviously Instagram was really trying to push video content. And so we started doing that, and we were generating a lot more engagement, and then naturally more followers as well. So that's just obviously one sweet example of a growth hack, I say. And the best way to find out about these is they're not going to naturally come to you. Watch YouTube videos, read blogs. It's kind of just, self-education at the end of the day. But there's plenty of growth hacks, and also the algorithm is always changing. So
which just makes it so fun.
Yeah.
But I think, if I can add two things, one is just asking yourself, is this shareable, right? The way that you get new followers is obviously new people seeing your content. And when you just post to your profile, if you don't use hashtags, which I think we can speak about in a second, it's going to your current followers. So if you have stagnated, then it's probably because it's the same people seeing your post every time. So asking yourself, would I share this, assuming you're your target audience, is always a good place to start. Not every post is intended to be shareable. It might be savable, but that's definitely something we would ask ourselves. Like, would I share this?
Or save it.
Or save it, yeah. Do I look at this and I'm like, wow, that is so me that I would want to share it to my stories? Then or hopefully your community will do some of that growth work for you. And then the second thing is hashtags, because people follow hashtags, meaning if you use hashtags on your post, it's going into the feed of non-followers. So that's also something we do quite a bit.
And some other things as well, which is also what we've been doing, is obviously the new collaboration feature.
Yes.
And so we've tested that with quite a lot of our course creators, actually. And with people from the Future Females show. So with Babauer, we've who's one of the amazing course creators on the new platform. We've posted a few reels as a collaboration with her educational carousel as well. And so obviously what that's doing is the content is displaying on their feed, which is a completely new audience to us, and for example to your page as well. So that's also a really nice way to try and get yourself out there and grow following. Making sure you're keeping up to date with story strategies as well, which again you can watch through YouTube. And then really just like tagging, and I suppose that also goes with sharing, your content. Tagging people and sending your stories and posts to people, and asking them if it resonates with them to share it as well.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. That collaboration feature is freaking amazing. Like Babalwa, she's created a course for you guys on how to build your personal brand through Instagram and become a full-time content creator. She generated 250,000 followers in 2 years, so she really knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
But when we were able to post as a collaboration, which is a feature available to everyone, it means that we get a share of that audience and she gets a share of ours. So it also just feels nice. Like you feel more embedded in the ecosystem and the community on wider Instagram when you can collaborate like that. So I think for anyone here, like who has probably a similar following size to you, and a complementary product or service, and can you just co-post, collaborate on something? I mean, you can do it on posts as well as reels now, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Let me just pop this up. Checking the references to some hashtags. They do not point to something that conflicts. Oh, Kim, I'd love to know what hashtag you use. That is a very good point. It is true.
And sometimes some hashtags also shadow ban, which then creates like a ripple effect into your account as well. So that's also important.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me ask you, we've started touching on personal branding. And for everyone tuned in across our channels, maybe you want to let us know if you are working on building up your personal brand, just write personal, your business brand being like a logo, or if you're building both. Obviously, we do both together. So do you want to just chat a little bit about the differences between kind of Future Females content and Lauren Dallas content?
I think just like authentically speaking and being open and honest as well, we've seen, so obviously a lot of people recognize Lauren within the Future Females brand and Future Females side of things, but the Lauren Dallas audience, which for me wasn't actually as clear as now, is quite different to the Future Females audience. And so it's interesting. It's been a bit more of a push on the Lauren Dallas side of things to try and get people onto the wait list. Whereas, when Lauren releases an ebook or mastermind or something, people are like right there and they're ready and they're super keen and eager. So that's been a big differentiator. What I would say is that on the Future Females side of things, what wasn't working was that we weren't showcasing, like we weren't bringing you into the brand as much. And I feel like now that we are exploring more collaboration posts as well with Future Females and with Lauren Dallas, and want to do more. I've got a lot of videos I want to film with you. I feel like that is helping a lot. In terms of like the cross-pollination, and I think it's also important. But I would say that to an extent they're not too different, because on the Future Female side of things, we're wanting to be more authentic and educational. And on the Lauren Dallas account, there's also that authentic touch. I mean, you went away on the mastermind and you shared that reel with Luna, saying goodbye to your fiance, and it blew up because you were obviously, it was such an authentic video. So many people could relate to it. And then you also share such amazing educational tips with your community as well. And so I'd say in that way, quite different, quite similar, and not too different. I would say maybe the way we speak to our community is different though, because again, going back into the personas, the Lauren Dallas, persona community is different to the Future Female community and persona.
Definitely. And I think building on that and answering, sorry, I'm not going to be able to get this name right, if this is your name, but a good question around building both and tying it into what you were saying. Even on our business account, what works well is bringing the human element in. And so like Leah said, me speaking in reels or appearing on stories. But even more than that, we obviously have a team. Doesn't matter if you don't, it can be you, but showing the behind the scenes of building what you're building. I think when you're a small business, you often feel like you don't have what it takes to compete. But what you're overlooking is that actually you have an advantage that bigger businesses don't, in that you can still be personal. And people now more than ever, and I think this was accentuated after COVID too, we're looking for connection to people, but also to brands that have the people behind it that we connect to. So I think, if you haven't started either of your accounts, to speak directly to this question, I would start with one, because building 2 accounts is double the work. But even if you decide you're going to build your logo account, bring yourself in. I remember I worked with one lady. She's a jewelry designer in Cape Town, and she just had a business account. She'd never put herself out there, and she didn't want to. 2 years later, after working with her, she did a story. I was like, just introduce yourself. Just be like, hi, this is me. These are the values. This is why I started. Your origination story. She made 2 sales from one story.
That's amazing.
And it was like her best views ever. And I know that's a once-off, but there is a real business argument for showing up as you through your content.
And also not expecting anything from it. I think that's a big thing as well, So hop on stories and speak to your community. If you're trying to convert a sale push or whatever your intention is behind it, but don't expect anything from it. I think when you put so much energy and effort into it, and you have all this energy, and you just, you want to see results, we don't necessarily see the results that we're wanting to, because we are expecting them. Whereas if you do what aligns authentically within you, whether it be hopping on stories or not, posting that reel, for example. I mean, I'm sure you didn't realize it was going to do so well, opposed to like our educational ones, which we spend a lot more time filming. You're not expecting anything to come of it, and then somehow the magic happens. Because it's authentic, and people love that, and they relate to it.
And I think that's part of the principle of organic, right? Because it is organic. It's not like a funnel where you're pushing people through your business journey. It's all about relationship building, actually. And we know, like in real life, that takes multiple touch points and exposure to multiple facets of who you are or what your brand stands for.
100%.
I love this from Annalise, just going to pop it up. I feel like being personal as a brand is so valuable. People love connecting with people rather than robots.
Yes.
We should use that quote.
I love that. And
Thanks,
that again goes back into how, in terms of like leads generation, how, within July and August, we've generated 900 signups from just the Instagram page alone. And I think a lot of that is literally being just authentically and genuinely connecting, not using bots, but actually sending people messages that we think actually align within our brand. Because that is important. There's so many bots and stuff out there. I definitely agree with that.
Also, and speaking a little bit about community engagement, and please do let us know if you have any questions. I believe we've already been 35 minutes on our live, and we try to keep it to around 45. So do let us know, so I can throw them at Leah for you. When it comes to community engagement, and I was away on a mastermind this weekend with a number of other content creators and course creators, and we were discussing like the importance of direct messaging and also replying to your comments in a timely fashion. And let's be honest, it's not something that we all want to do because we've got a business to run, but people can feel when it's a one-way conversation and when it's authentically a two-way. So, for example, my friend Angelique, some of you might know her on Instagram. She's the lean girl, and I just reference her because she is the perfect example. Every comment replied to personally with value, every direct message replied to on the day. And obviously, as she's scaled and as people scale, you can get support for that. But if you really want to invest in a channel, then that's an important component.
100%. And I see, I think it's Karen there, says, always engage with your followers as well, not just to focus on your new followers. And that's 100% true, because I mean, obviously those people, your followers, have been there from day one, the ones that did start following you from, also long ago. And so it's important to also value them.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Absolutely. And also then they'll grow your following for you because they'll become your brand advocates and sharing more. So
And maybe a founding member.
even a founding member. I hope you guys will be our founding members. I'm absolutely loving all of these comments. If you're not on our wait list and you don't know what a founding member is, I will just tell you quickly. As you know, we're just weeks away. We've got our official countdown in our new office here when we open the doors. And we're going to be inviting only the women on our wait list into the new platform first as our beta group, meaning that you'll be in there. It won't be 100%. It'll hopefully be 95%, but we'll be taking your feedback. We've created a role called the founding member. This is essentially the first people ever to get access to the platform. You'll be immortalized on our founding member page of our website, which will link out to your website or your social media profile, whichever you prefer. You'll be part of our founding member VIP group as well in the platform, which is where we'll be testing concepts and really just asking for your input strategically and on key decisions we have to make. So, I always say, and I mentioned this in a previous CEO Diaries, I feel as a female founder, you're doing two jobs always. One job is starting your business. The second job is making it easier for founders who are coming before you by showing up, but also hopefully by helping us to create the most impactful community and digital space that we can. So I see, Annalise, how do we get on the waiting list? Great question. You should, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you should be able to see a link in the caption. It is free to join the waitlist, and then you'll get all of our updates and obviously be invited to the platform first in a couple of weeks. So yeah, just click through, pop your email in, and then we'll keep you updated. Perfect. Okay, cool. I'm just checking that there are any last questions. Please do pop them in if you have them. Karen saying so excited.
Yay!
Us too, Karen. Oh my gosh. I've already got the champagne. I literally do have the champagne
Don't tell us where it is.
I was about to. We're really excited to open the doors and celebrate with all of you as well. Okay, I think we have answered the question. So what that leaves is to award the winner.
Ooh.
Would you like to do the honors? I think we're going to go for...
Yeah, I also think so.
Okay, ready? Our official winner. And what you win is your choice of Future Females merch. So whether you like the t-shirt or water bottle or tracksuit, we also have some new merch coming through for the new year. You can take your pick and we'll send it out to you. So our winner is Karen. Congratulations, Karen. Thank you so much for contributing to this conversation. I think I read at the top that you're also a social media manager, that you love content creation. So thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing your learnings as well and just making this fun for us, as it always is. So please pop us your email address. Just DM it on LinkedIn is fine. You can send it to me and we'll organize that to come out to you.
Yay! Congratulations.
Then to everyone else, that is a wrap on CEO Diaries. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've received a lot of value from the session. I know Leah is an absolute wealth of knowledge, so we could speak for hours, but we're also not going anywhere. So even if you're watching this on replay, feel free to comment or ask your questions and we'll come back to you.
Or DM the Future Females page and I will personally respond.
Then you'll go straight to Leah, which is much smarter. And then other than that, I hope you'll join me next week for CEO Diaries. We are going to be joined by Carmen. Carmen is a marketing coordinator on our team. And we're going to be speaking specifically to growth hacking, which you did touch on. But what Carmen is doing is generating leads outside of our own channels. So how can you use other Facebook groups? And so if you're in the idea stage and don't have an audience yet, this is definitely going to be one you'll want to tune in for.
She's a wizard.
She really is.
So you guys should definitely tune in.
Yeah. So thank you all. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.